this morning. I want everyone to realize how fortunate and blessed we are to have our opportunity to see another day. So we don't want to take it for lightly. Yesterday is gone forever, and what we do today will matter. So we're grateful and thankful that everyone here. It's always refreshing to see a lot of our young firemen over there. So I was just telling Mr. Bailey, you have a long, long, good career. We talked about that yesterday before his retirement. So thank everyone for being here. Thank the school system for having a representative here. And we thank our team and everyone here. But with that said, I am now calling the meeting to order. And I would like to call on Reverend Dr. Richard Wright of Trinity Methodist Church to lead us with the invocation. If you can stand and remain standing as Councilman Day lead us with the praise.
Let's pray. God of all people, we pause with gratitude for the blessings that the mayor has talked about. You've already given us to our city and to us. And we ask you to continue to provide those blessings in the future. Be present with us in this important meeting today. Give our council members wisdom, patience, and courage as they do their work. Empower them to make decisions that serve the good of all citizens and strengthen every part of our community and city. Encourage each one of us as citizens to take part in faithful service that promotes peace, compassion, and understanding. In all that we do, may we honor you by sharing your love and mercy with others across our great city. And it's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Wright. Welcome to the state. If you leave, we will not be held against you, and we will still love you. So we appreciate your service.
Bless y'all for it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman Davis. With that being said, at this time, I'd like to call on our HR Director, Stephanie Chastain, as well as our City Manager, Wallace Hunter, to recognize our employee services people who give of themselves in increment of 5 years. So it's one of the greatest things that we can do. And like I said, and I continue to say, one of the two powerful words that we can say when it's done sincerely is thank you. So we want to precede and say thank you to all the ones who have given of themselves. Ms. Chastain?
Thank you very much, Mayor. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We typically do this the first council meeting of the month, but last meeting we had a little bit of confusion with the fire department on the dates. So they wanted to be here, so we are so glad that they're here this morning so we can publicly thank them for their years of service for the month of August. And also, in addition to the fire department, we have one police officer who reached his 5-year anniversary. He was gone for a few months, came back, was reinstated, and during that time he was gone is when he reached his 5-year anniversary. So we'll also recognize him this morning. So with the fire department, we have Sergeant Mackenzie George with 5 years of service.
Come on down. Appreciate it.
Anyone wants to say a few words if you'd like to?
Thank you.
He's made a few words.
Not a bad thing. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Also with the fire department, we have Captain Donnie Slaughter with 15 years of service.
It's a huge honor and privilege to work for the fire department, and I'm hoping that the last 10 years go the first 15. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our victim of the morning with the fire department, Sergeant Jeffrey Carter with 20 years of service.
Thank you. Appreciate your service.
And then with our police department, Corporal Evan Lombard with 5 years of service. Thank you all for all that you do each and every day serving our city. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you all so much. I do want to say again, we certainly on behalf of this council, myself, as well as the city manager, Stephanie, HR director, we do want to say thank you all, and it's refreshing when they want to come. That's always refreshing, and let us know that it's something that's been done right. So thank you all so much, we appreciate you. Get you all rest of the year again. Thank you all. Proceeding on, council, at this time under the city clerk, since we were all present at the August the 3rd work session as well as August the 4th council meeting, I want to ask if it's the pleasure of the council that we can ask for a motion for the approval of the August the 3rd work session as well as August the 4th council meeting.
The motion is down.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Daly and a second from Councilmember Florence. Okay, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence? Yes. Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on the city council, council at this time of the unfinished business. Tonight we will proceed on with the resolutions and under administration. We have a resolution in reference to adopting an annual transportation plan. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the 2019 Alabama legislature has passed House Bill 2, which levied an additional excise tax on gasoline and diesel fuel. And whereas the city of Phenix City will receive a portion of said tax, which will be deposited into a separate fund. And whereas these funds will be solely dedicated to the maintenance, improvement, replacement, and construction of roads as mandated by House Bill 2. And whereas the city will adopt an annual transportation plan no later than August 31st, 2026, and will implement during the next fiscal year based on an estimate of revenues. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama intends to utilize funding from HB2 for the following projects. Preliminary engineering for resurfacing of River Chase Drive project, STPPC-4126. Construction, including construction engineering and inspection, CE&I, for project STPPC-4126, resurfacing of River Chase Drive. The city's total obligation for preliminary engineering and construction for these projects totals $276,000. The city will utilize $569,652.64 of remaining and anticipated gas tax funds to offset these project costs. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Okay, thank you again, Mrs. Davis, for reading the resolution. Council, you all heard this resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask this council for a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion from Councilmember Florence. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Green. Okay, we have the motion, we have the second. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. If not, at this time, council, I'd like to call for the vote. May I have a vote?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Proceeding on the administration for resolutions, there's a resolution in reference to granting an easement to Alabama Power. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City of Phenix City plans to construct an addition to the municipal building which will require electrical power. And whereas Alabama Power Company is requesting that the City of Phenix City grant an easement to provide underground power for the facility. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to sign the necessary documents to authorize the granting of said easement. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Okay, thank you again for the reading of the resolution. Council, we've all heard. At this time, council, I would like to ask the council for a motion, please.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilman Green, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Day. Comments or discussion before there again, we did, just received this from, Ray, and they're like I am, I don't understand a thing on that.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This is gonna be some growing pains that we're gonna have to go through. If everybody knows the back of the stairs on the utilities building has been decaying for the night now. We've not been able to utilize those stairs. So in the process of having to replace the stairs, it was best, God was under, it was best for us to try to add them to the back of the building as well, to give some extra space in utilities and, for finance and for the city managers for the city clerk's office expanding and all. So, we've come up with a plan, we got an architect, we've got drawings now. The bid is gonna be October 1st for all the drawings. What I brought you was just kind of a layout, showing the layout of the area, on how it's gonna expand out, and then to each floor. The resolution that we have for Alabama Power, we currently have an overhead service coming to the building. That overhead service is gonna be in the way of the addition that we're gonna do. Therefore, we need to relocate the overhead service. So to address that up, we went with Alabama Power, we're gonna do an underground service to the building to clean up that backside as well. And that will give AT&T as well as, cable underground as well, and just kind of address that up in that process while we're doing that addition and moving those lines around.
Okay, thank you. Ray, any questions or comments, council? And takeaways?
Also want to add that the revenue for this is in the Bank of New York. This money was put in place several years ago, and we're just getting this in place. Yes, sir.
Do we have any idea, Mr. Honor, what kind of cost we would be looking? I know that's kind of wide and broad, but, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we kind of was looking around $2 million, but it's probably going to be a little bit more than that with the price of everything, on Sky Islands. So we just don't know.
Yeah, it's progress. It's progress.
We have revenue in place.
Good.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ray.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
With that being said, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence? Yes. Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, council on the building department. We have a public hearing and approval of 3 resolutions in reference to the fixing of costs incurred by the city of Phoenix City for the removal of substandard structures and the establishment of special assessments upon properties located at 114th Avenue South, 1826 Court, 1005 15th Place. At this time, council, I will ask the clerk to read this public hearing and resolution as one master. And I would ask this council if it's okay if we take all of them in one motion, one vote. All minds clear with that? Yes, sir. Okay, Mrs. Davis?
Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, was requested by the building official of the city to authorize the demolition and removal of substandard structures at the following locations in Phoenix City. 1, 114th Avenue South. 2, 1820 6th Court. 3, 1005 15th Place. Whereas the City Council on the 17th day of March 2026 by resolution number 2026-62, resolution number 2026-64, and resolution number 2026-66 approved a parent low bid to demolish and or remove said substandard structures located on each property listed above. And whereas the city has given notice by certified or registered mail to the person or persons person's lives assessed for ad valorem taxes for each property, and a notice has been published in the Citizen of East Alabama, a local newspaper of general circulation, at least 15 days before this final hearing for the fixing of costs for each property. And whereas, after giving all interested parties an opportunity at this public hearing to address council on this, the 18th day of August 2026, on the issue of the fixing of costs on these cases, the city council believes the fixing of costs have been determined and that they should be assessed against the substandard structures as named above and recorded in the probate office to protect the interests of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama as follows. 1. That the final costs in the removal of the substandard structures at the following locations are as follows. 100 14th Avenue South, $2,650. 1820 6th Court, $4,650. 1005 15th Place, $4,825. The final inspection date was June 30th, 2026. 2. That the city clerk file a certified copy of each resolution with the probate judge of Russell County, Alabama, to establish a special assessment that shall constitute a lien of Phenix City, Alabama, upon each property that shall be collected through the Revenue Commissioner's Office for Russell County, Alabama. 3. That the legal description for each property is listed on each individual resolution for that particular property as taken from the records of the Revenue Commissioner's Office of Russell County, 1000 Broad Street, Phenix City, Alabama, 36867. 4. That the property owners listed below for each property are as shown on the tax records of Russell County, Alabama. 1. 100 14th Avenue South, King Homer T. and Cynthia C. King, here of Tamilia and Cynthia C. King, 2810 9th Place, Phoenix City, Alabama, 36867. 2. 1820 6th Court, K&K Property Development Inc., 4332 Campbellton Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30331. 3. 1005 15th Place, CNKG Enterprises LLC, and Henry Theron, 5258 23rd Avenue, Columbus, Georgia, 31904. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Now, what I did, everyone, is the reason why I did it backward this time instead of having a public hearing, which we will get to that, is that I received a call the other day with a person that was very upset. At the time, I did not know how much the cost was going to be. And of course, they was getting all over me about me not being transparent and not disclosing the amount of the cost. So I wanted to do it backward, and I advised them to watch the program. So now they can see and hear how much it will cost for the demolition. So with that being said, at this time, I would like to call for a public hearing, and if there's anyone that would like to come and address this council in reference to these fixing of costs, now is the time to do so. Okay, since no one has stepped forward, I am closing the public hearing, and again, I do want to reiterate the reason why I did it backwards. This time was because of that reason, but we will continue to do it the normal way, unless I get another call, unless the councilman get another call. So with that, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask this council for a motion, please.
I'll motion this time, Mayor. All right.
Motion from Councilman Day, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Day. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence? Yes. Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Proceeding on, council, on the building department, we have 5 resolutions and public notices in reference to setting public hearings dates and fixing demolition costs associated with the following properties located in Phoenix City. The first one is 1420 10th Avenue. Second one is 2410 17th Avenue. The third one is 709 12th Avenue. The fourth one is 1019 4th Street. And the fifth one is 1707 12th Avenue. Council, at this time, I'd like to ask our Clerk, at the pleasure of this council, to read one national resolution and public notice. And at that time, I'd like to ask the pleasure that we can do all this in one motion and one vote. You all good with something? Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Steve? Stay?
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Davis?
Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has been informed by the building official of the city that substandard structures at the following locations in Phoenix City were in need of demolition or removal. 1, 1420 10th Avenue. 2, 2410 17th Avenue. 3, 709 12th Avenue. 4, 1019 4th Street. 5, 1707 12th Avenue. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has solicited sealed bids as required by Alabama law, and the apparent low bidders meeting the specifications required for the demolition of the substandard structures are as follows. The amount listed below includes dumping fees. 1, 1420 10th Avenue, Elite Hauling and Landworks, $4,730. 2, 2410 17th Avenue, Elite Hauling and Landworks, $4,285. 3, 709 12th Avenue, Elite Hauling and Landworks, $3,999. 4, 1019 4th Street, Elite Hauling and Landworks, $3,750. And 5, 1707 12th Avenue, Elite Hauling and Landworks, $7,499. Whereas the city is required by law to give notice by certified or registered mail to the person last assessed for abnormal taxes before the final fixing of costs, and a copy of the resolution is to be published in the Citizen of East Alabama, a newspaper of local and general publication in Russell County, Alabama. And whereas the building official of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama was authorized to proceed with the demolition and or removal of the substandard structure with the apparent low bidder at the approved bid price. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama as follows. 1, that the city clerk give notice by certified or registered mail to the person last assessed for abnormal taxes, and a copy of this resolution be published in the Citizen of East Alabama newspaper one time for the final fixing of costs and establishment of a special assessment upon the property as required by law. 2, that the date for fixing of costs before the City Council shall be September 15, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. at the 1601 5th Street South, Phoenix City Youth Center. 3, that at such public hearing, any person interested in this property as well as the person last assessed for abnormal taxes should appear and give reason, if any, why the City Council should not establish a special assessment upon the property for the cost of the demolition or removal of the substandard structure, which the owner of the property had either failed or refused to do after it had become a public danger or health hazard. 4, the cost of demolition for each structure as listed above shall be levied against each property as a special assessment and shall constitute a lien against the property to be collected through the Revenue Commissioner's Office for Russell County, Alabama. The council notes that the parcel identification number for each property is listed on the public notice and the individual resolution for each property. 5, that the property owner as shown on the tax records of Russell County, Alabama for each property is as follows. 1, 1420 10th Avenue, Dorothy Ann and Carla D. Broadnax, 19 J.C. Road, Seal, Alabama, 36875. 2, 2410 17th Avenue, New Central Missionary Baptist Church, 1702 24th Street, Phoenix City, Alabama, 36867. 3, 709 12th Avenue, Oscar Gonzalez, 5542 Body Drive, Columbus, Georgia, 31907. 4, 1019 4th Street, Trillis Williams, 189 Lee Road, 423, Smith Station, Alabama, 36877. 5, 1707 12th Avenue, Mary J. Dudley, 2408 Brookwood Circle, Phenix City, Alabama, 36867. Public notice should read as follows. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama will meet on September 15, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. at 1601 Fifth Street South, Phenix City Youth Center, to consider the fixing of costs incurred by the City of Phenix City for the demolition and or removal of substandard buildings or structures located at the following locations. 1, 1420 10th Avenue. 2, 2410 17th Avenue. 3, 709 12th Avenue. 4, 1019 4th Street. 5, 1707 12th Avenue. Legal description is as listed on individual public notice for that property. Any person, firm, or corporation having any interest in the above described property should appear before council at the aforementioned time and place if they have any objections as to why the fixing of costs for the removal of the substandard building or structure should not be assessed as a lien against the property taxes upon the substandard building or structure was located. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Davis. Council, we have all heard the reading of the master resolution as well as the public notice. At this time, with the pleasure of this council, I would like to ask that we take it in one vote. So at this time, I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilman Day,
Second.
second Councilmember Florence. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. Ms. Davis?
Councilmember Day.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey.
Yes.
Councilmember Florence. Yes. Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, Council and Fire Department. We have a resolution in reference to accepting a price quote from Side 2 Way for the emergency package for F-6 in an amount not to exceed $9,990.23. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas Phenix City Fire Rescue has solicited pricing in order to install an emergency package for a fire department support vehicle F6. And whereas the lowest price for the equipment meeting the required specifications for the equipment, which includes lights, siren, radio equipment installation, graphics, etc., is from Side 2 Way. And whereas Side 2 Way has submitted pricing in an amount not to exceed $9,909.23. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to accept a price quote from Side 2 Way for the emergency package for F6, provided it meets the required specifications in an amount not to exceed $9,909.23. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Thank you again for reading the resolution of the council, which we've heard. And at this time, council, I'd like to ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right. Have a motion from Councilmember Florence. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Day. Comments or discussion? All right. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey.
Yes.
Councilmember Florence.
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, council, proceeding on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to command the installation of a sanitary sewer main along South Railroad Street between 15th and 17th Avenue in an emergency and authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to pay Southern Brush Cutting and Grading LLC for said work in an amount not to exceed $260,000. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the sanitary sewer main along South Railroad Street between 15th and 17th Avenues had stoppages. And whereas attempts to clear said stoppages with a jetter hose were unsuccessful. And whereas when a camera was used to try to determine the condition of the main collapsed, causing the camera to be trapped in the pipe, requiring excavation to remove. And whereas approximately 920 feet of said sanitary sewer main needed to be replaced as soon as possible to ensure public safety, provide consistent sanitary service to customers, and prevent a sanitary sewer overflow. And whereas the city hired Southern Brush Cutting and Grading LLC to replace the damaged sanitary main as an emergency. And whereas during the replacement of this section of sanitary sewer, groundwater was a persistent problem, following into the excavated areas and collapsing a portion of the road and curb, which greatly slowed the progress of the work. And whereas due to the delays in the sanitary sewer installation and the urgent need to restore sanitary service to properties served by said sewer, and temporary sanitary main and services needed to be installed to provide temporary sanitary service until the new sanitary main was put in service. And whereas the sanitary main was replaced and Southern Brush Cutting and Grading LLC submitted invoices for this work for a total amount of $260,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby declare the installation of the sanitary sewer main along South Railroad Street between 15th and 17th Avenues an emergency, and authorizes and directs the mayor and city manager to pay Southern Brush Cutting and Grading LLC for said work in an amount not to exceed $260,000. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August, 2026.
Okay, make it a little warm. Get you ready. Thank you, Mrs. Davis, for reading the resolution. Council, at this time, I would like to ask this council for a motion, please.
I'll offer that motion at this time.
We have a motion to approve Councilman Green. May I have a second? Second, Councilman Day. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, sir. When we originally started the project with $180,000, and so we ran into a problem with that additional $80,000. Is that right? I was saying when we originally started this project with $180,000, and we ran into some problem in there. Ran $80,000, came to $260,000, but $80,000 came.
The 8,000 is for the temporary main service that was installed to get services back, at least temporarily, while the project was underway. Because while the project was underway, there was at least three houses that didn't have any sewer service at all, so that we would have no service or backups, had overflow. So that was the $8,000 that you see.
Yeah, that's, what I was saying, the original $180,000, all right? Originally.
If we had not had to have the temporary line installed, we would have just done $180,000.
Okay, okay. All right. Now, when that work is finished, do we get a guarantee on that? When they finish that work, do we get a guarantee on it?
Yes, they took half of 1 year.
20 years?
1 year.
1 year. Okay, all right, thanks, sir.
Yes,
All right, thank you, John.
yes, sir.
Any other comments or discussion, council, before we call for the vote? If not, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Proceeding on, council, on the Utilities Department is a resolution in reference to declaring the replacement of the sanitary sewer main and service at 1201 North Road an emergency and authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to pay War Grading Contractor Incorporation for said work in an amount not to exceed $29,674. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas emergency work was required on a sanitary sewer main in service at 1201 Knowles Road, which was damaged under the road. And whereas it was necessary that the sanitary sewer main be replaced as expeditiously as possible to ensure public safety and prevent a sanitary sewer overflow. And whereas War Grading Contractor Inc. replaced the sanitary main and service. And whereas War Grading Contractor Inc. submitted an invoice for said sanitary service replacement in an amount not to exceed $29,674. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby declare the replacement of the sanitary sewer main and service at 1201 Knowles Road an emergency, and authorizes and directs the mayor and city manager to pay War Grading Contractor Inc. for said sanitary service replacement in an amount not to exceed $29,674. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August, 2026.
Okay, thank you for the reading of the resolution. Mrs. Davis, Council, we've all heard it. At this time, I'd like to ask this council for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Councilmember Florence, may I have a second? Second. Second, Councilman Davis. Comments or discussion? All right, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day? Yes. Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Seeing none, council, we have a resolution in reference to declaring an effluent cleaning, drying bed, and pump bypass an emergency, and authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to pay Davis Concrete and Rain for rent in an amount not to exceed $135,863.56. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the city of Phenix City operates a wastewater treatment plant which receives effluent from the wastewater collection system at the headquarters of the plant. And whereas the screw pumps, grit system, and primary clarifiers needed to be put back in service as soon as possible. And whereas grit, trash, and debris accumulated in the headworks which could cause problems with other equipment in the plant and the sewage, and the headworks became septic, which would be harmful to bacteria in the plant, which helped treat the sewage. And whereas this grit, trash, debris, and septic material needed to be removed to protect the plant's biological processes and equipment, including the screw pumps and primary clarifiers. And whereas emergency cleaning services and pump bypass were required to remove said grit, trash, debris, and septic material as soon as possible to get the screw pumps, grid system, and primary clarifiers back in service. And whereas quotes were requested from cleaning and pump companies for this emergency effluent cleaning, pump bypass, and drying bed cleaning, and the lowest quotes were from Davis Concrete and Rain for rent at a total cost of $135,863.56. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, does hereby declare the cleaning of said effluent and dry bed and pump bypass an emergency, and authorizes and directs the mayor and city manager to pay Davis Concrete and Rain for rent for said services at an amount not to exceed $135,863.56. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Thank you again, Mrs. Davis. Council, all of us have heard the resolution at this time. I'd like to ask this council for a motion, please.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Green, and have a second.
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Comments or discussion? Okay, call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, council on the Utilities Department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to purchase 2 actuators from Industrial Contracting Services and Maintenance for $31,612.50, and 1 flow meter from Hydrogal for $12,650. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City of Phenix City operates a water filtration plant, and whereas some critical components of the water filtration plant are approximately 15 years old and near the end of their useful life, specifically the raw water valve actuator, the split valve actuator, and the split valve flow meter. And whereas a failure of any of these 3 components would make plant operations very difficult and possibly cause a plant shutdown. And whereas the delivery time for replacements for said critical components would be 12 to 16 weeks. And whereas it is in the city's best interest to purchase these components and have them ready to replace the existing components in the event of a failure. And whereas the city received a quote for 2 rotor actuators from Industrial Contracting Services and Maintenance, Inc., the authorized rotor dealer, in the amount of $31,612.50, and for 1 ABB flow meter from Hydrocal, the authorized ABB dealer, in the amount of $12,650. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, hereby authorizes and directs the mayor and city manager to purchase 2 actuators from industrial contracting services and maintenance for $31,612.50, and 1 flow meter from Hydrocal for $12,650. Council approved and adopted this 18th day of August 2026.
Okay, thank you. Council, you've heard the resolution. It's time to have a motion from the council, please.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilman Davis, I have a second.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Green. Comments or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, we know those four resolutions from the utility department total $438,187.56. Those dollars will be coming from the utility department. When somebody operating from the system of Phenix City, let them know that the risk being redundant here.
Mayor, that's where they were saying, these four resolutions that we just went over for the utility department come to almost $500,000. And so that's money that's coming out of the utilities funds. And also, we've discussed recently, if you look back at the last couple of years, for 2025, 2026, 2025, there's some of the resolutions that we had to spend from the utilities account would have been $3.4 million in 2026 already. We're up around 8.6, excuse me, 1.8, 1.9 million. And then also, as far as leaks, we spent over $2.4 million right now on leaks. So we spent a lot of money over the last years from the utility department, about 7.7 just in what we're just talking about now. So it's a lot of money, it's expensive, operating utility department, and so that's like we discussed. We've got a lot of stuff we've done, got a lot more stuff that we need to do, and so trying to prepare to get those things done, and that's part of the reason we have to have these rate studies to see what kind of work's needed, what our costs are for producing this water and treatment sewage, because our costs go up every year. And I've seen in the last few years, costs didn't go up like normal, they went up. Like we talked about where we got a loan to do at least 4 different projects. And by the time we started that project, the one project we started on, when we estimated originally about $4 million, by the time we got done with it, it was over $12 million to around $15 million, just that one project. So that took more than the loan we had to do that one project when initially when we started out. The cost figures were a third of what they ended up being. So that's the reason we have to come before y'all asking for these projects, the funds for these projects, and to have to continually do these rate studies because the costs, they don't stay the same. They change every year. But do you have any questions?
I have one. This is in reference to this final resolution for today. The actuators and the flow meter that are there, so they're 15 years old, they are still currently functioning, or have they?
They are functioning, yes, ma'am.
The reason I asked that you elaborate for the system of Phenix City, I want them to be aware to take dollars to keep their utility system going. And when they talk about the water rate increase of the water, the water bill and stuff like that, they can understand the push that you're giving them today. And in the future, I want them, the citizens to understand it as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Yes.
Just to get another idea, this actuator that turns into a house, you see how expensive they are. It's just, two actuators, $31,000. We've got tons of actuators in both plants. And so, it's quite expensive for just the equipment and then other material like chemicals.
Thank you,
Some
John.
of the paperwork, before you leave, some of the paperwork on the things that we have to do in the future. The last total you looked at, when we go to the bond start taking a look at some of the wrong systems we're dealing with now. Do you have with you the last total that you had, that we may have to borrow throughout the whole system?
Oh, for the future projects,
Yes.
you get 40 million each, on projects that could be done. They're not all need to be done, that first year, but when we were looking at the next 5 to 6 years, you get easily over $40 million.
And once people understand this, they're not keeping up with the local news, just look at what's happening in Columbus, what's gonna happen with Rush County Authority, what's gonna happen with Smith Station Authority, Fort Mitchell Authority, everything is increased. It just didn't increase other places, it increased for us, and it's a lot. It's just going throughout the country, it's not here. It's just the things, the report that I was gonna go over with y'all, like fire trucks. I don't know if y'all watching the national news or taking a look at that, what's happening with ambulances and fire trucks. It's taking up to 4 or 5 years to get those, and the prices are tripling what it was, the price that was. So it's like a lot of people around here, and we have to deal with this, like I gotta mention it, we gotta deal with this idiotic Facebook crowd, and they get on, making no sense, talking about things that they don't have no knowledge of, or people that was past terminated employees from here that's putting out false information, and it's detrimental to the daily operation of the people here that's trying to function and trying to take care of their city. And someone has to say that sometimes. If you don't know what you're talking about, jumping on the bandwagon and talking about things you have no clue of, that's sickening to a lot of things, because it's an old taboo talk that went around here. I've been here a long time. Now, the city itself would not have this problem if it was up under a board. That's talk that people don't want to hear sometimes, because the board basically tells you what you have to have and the things that's got to be there. And there's no discussion hardly over that. But when it's tied to politics and it's tied to council people, then it is a problem, because there's always an imminent threat towards your seat and trying to do the work that you have to do here. But the truth is, we have a system that's over 100+ years old. Things that wasn't done 30 years ago, 20 years ago, are affecting this system throughout now. Even with the complication of federal regulations that's in place that must be done. It's not a can you do it, when you can do it, it must be done. So it's gonna change the things that's throughout the whole system. That's what people need to learn and take a look at. But this thing about playing with other people's professions and playing with their jobs and thinking it's so funny and setting up like this is entertainment, that is pathetic. And whoever wants to go on here, they can say, I've said it. But we have got to try to keep this city functioning the properly the way it's supposed to be done, because them is going to make us have to do that. And we're currently in a situation with the real one. But when you have an individual that's in this city that's a member of the Rotary Club, that's with our board of realtors, that's trying to cause a demise for the city and bringing people here to move here, that's going around with guts and finding water leaks to get on TV and think it's funny, that's pathetic. And this same person that's doing this and fooling these people was a person that was caught with voter fraud because he lives in office. Now, these things have got to be, I usually wouldn't be lured into talking about some of these things, but it's got to be said. Because there's so many people that's misinformed of what's going on. We're trying to make a good community for people to live in and function in. But it's playing with people and their perfections and doing things and trying to bring the walls down. What that should do is ignite. If you have anything in your closet, anything field guard, any kind of way, that should ignite the Nehemiah in you. That should bring it out. If you understand on anything we're talking about. Because this is getting to be ridiculous when you got a great school system that's making people live. It is a great place for military people to retire here. We have a lot of people that's moving here because no matter what anybody say, our crime rate is low. We have the things that attract people. We have industry here. Now, the things we can't do anything about is make people want to work. We can't make people come off of drugs until they want to come off of drugs. The things that people put pressure on, because we're always out here trying to take care of those things. But the main thing we better remember, and people out there that's doing this, no matter what our current conditions are right now, don't make that our permanent address. We're gonna stay functioning, and we're gonna continue to grow and do the things we do. And y'all are doing a fantastic job, and utilities do the things you want. We have a complete overhaul of that department, and it takes everybody to help make that work. So thank you for what you do.
And I also want to thank you personally. The reason I asked you to elaborate on the assessment plan, so I had two people ask me why y'all want to water, why y'all want to, and I want them to hear, especially through your minutes.
We got a war going on right now, gas is going on, diesel is up, everything is up. Can't take, no matter what you're doing, it's up, you cannot function. And that's probably what the demise of this city long ago, that they did not stand up and do the things that they supposed to have done to make sure we didn't face these current conditions. I know we spent over the past several years and making sure, and with the water trying to address the issue of water leaks. I don't know if people seen it, it's what's been put on our website. We put an AM report, and they did a report. We went check, we showed you all that. We showed you all the things. I try to make sure we stay ahead of what's out there before too much negativity put out there. But people just fell in love with negativity. You know, there's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. So we take the punches and keep on going with it. But it is so much. Look at everything across the board. Look at everything. Watch the news or something, please.
Let me say something on what Mr. Wallace was speaking about. The city, we had a utility board way back in the 70s and 80s. And I remember the activity on the board. They always argued, they never got along with each other. Everybody on the board thought they was in charge of the utilities department. Didn't have anybody over there to do anything without having to check with all of them on the board, and all 6 or 7 of them had a different opinion. They would stop the city crew working in the road and send them to another spot to work, and none of the work ever got done. Now, I know that for a fact, because I had one of my relatives was on the board, and he complained about all those board members. I had several friends that worked here at the utility department, coming over there talking to my father, who was on the council at that time, telling him that, look, they couldn't have 7 bosses. And each one of them put him off his job 2 or 3 times a day. Utilities is the most critical, the most confusing, the most department in our city that you cannot see the day-to-day operation of. You can see the fire department, you can see the police department, you can see the workers out working on the side of the street, you can see the people paving the streets right there. Can't see the utility people. Some of them are in the ground working, some of them out in the plants working, some of them out here doing things. But every one of them are doing the most important job there is, because every one of us, when we turn the light switch, wants electricity to come on. When you flush the toilet, you want it to work. When you turn the water on, take a bath, wash the clothes and the dishes, you want it to work. And that's the very thing that none of us realize how hard it is to have to keep those things working. Everybody wants to complain about busting pipes and leaking pipes. We've got, Lord have mercy, I know we got. I call all the time over to the clerk's office reporting stuff every week. All of us do. All of y'all do too, you see them. But that's part of our problem. That's the old part of our city, the infrastructure. That's what Mr. Hunter was talking about. That's why it's so hard to try to stay ahead of the curve, that sometimes you do get behind the curve. And sometimes it's not on purpose, sometimes it's because somebody just puts another job that the money is more critical for ahead of something else. Because you only got so much money that can go around. And it has to hit the most important things first each time. It doesn't matter what it is. And, you know, leaks to all of us inside the city seem to be the most important thing, because we see it. They're ugly, they're eyesore. Everybody wants to say, you know, how much water we're wasting. I have no idea what's going through those pipes. It doesn't really matter, you know, extra water's going through. But we still have other issues within our utility department that have to be figured out. We have to argue with ADM, have to argue with the river keeper, river ward, whatever you want to call it. All of that's important to the city, but the most important thing you just have to realize that our utilities department, working short-handed, is working hard, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Days that we off enjoying fishing and everything, there's a lot of them that are working. And they're enjoying life behind those backhoes and with those pumps all working, they have to take apart. Be appreciative of those people that are doing all that kind of job. They have the hardest job in the city, and I'm not taking away from anybody else in the city, but having to do those jobs, they're nasty, they're hot, they're in confined areas that people don't want to work in, and just be appreciative that they're out, and we have those types of employees in our city that are willing to work hard like that. For all of us to have something better, and be pleased that we're trying to stay ahead of the curve, and we're going to stay ahead of the curve. Make the adjustments we have to make to get rid of water leaks, bring our wastewater treatment plant up to the standards that it needs to be 25 years from now, not today, down the road. We're not looking at people that used to be here that wouldn't look down the road. Mr. Hunter and I were looking down the road, John and I were looking down the road. Down the road is where you gotta look, that's why our city's growing. And the more we look down the road, the more our city can grow, the more it grows, the more every one of us wins. So it's a win-win situation. But just allow them time, understand the reasons, and when you see somebody doing that work, thank them for doing that work. Don't get on to them because there's something up in your neighborhood that you don't like about water leaks coming down a curve that I don't like either. But thank the guy for being down there making your toilet work and everything else that you got working rather than a leak up the street. I just want to say that.
I do want to say this in reference to what Mr. Hunter said. Yes, we call this a gig, and the reason why we call it a gig because we're not political. But he made a comment about how we will not always be in these seats. But I do want to say this, and the council has heard me say this before. If any person that is elected, that is sitting in these seats, that are making decisions based on trying to stay in these seats, they don't need to be in the seats. It's about the people's business right now. Because you can't do this if you're not forward thinking and really caring about people. So I want to challenge this community, when we're long gone, we have to make sure we have people who's going to be making decisions, thinking about the people of this community. And everybody's not going to like us, but we still can't give in to making decisions or votes to stay in these seats. It is about the people's business. And one other last thing, just looking at these these four things under utilities. 3 of those things in the resolution said emergency that has to be taken care of now. And I would think over $7 million that have been spent, probably 75% or 80% or maybe higher was due to emergencies. So it's about people's business. It's not about us standing in these seats. If you want to attack us and try to vote whenever the time comes, more power to you. But I'm going to respectfully disagree with Mr. Hunter saying we can't do anything about people on Facebook. We're going to call it out because we are going to push back. We are not going to allow people to just demise this community when this committee, this council is giving it their best. We refuse to do that. So thank you, John. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, all. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. And John, thank you and your team.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawrence? Yes. Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Proceeding on ordinance, council, we have a public hearing and second reading. At this time, I would like to declare this as a public hearing, and if there's anyone that would like to come forward to address or to talk to the council as far as this annexation of this 0.2 acres of land, now is the time to do so.
Clarify,
Come
sir.
on, come on, step on.
Clarify, sir, is this the one that's next to the Ivy Creek
You
development?
want to come up?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you.
Please, gentlemen. Question, is this part of the proposed development that's next to the Ivy Creek neighborhood, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, I would like to make a statement on that.
Okay,
So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
good
My
morning.
name is Zach Jakin. I'm a homeowner over in the Apple Creek development. I'm here to respectfully ask the city to reject the proposed rezoning that would allow a high-density townhouse development adjacent to our neighborhood. I want to be clear, my objection is not to affordable housing or the people that may come to live in these potential homes. My concern is whether this particular location and proposed density are appropriate for the surrounding neighborhood. I have several concerns. First, I'm concerned about traffic and safety. A substantial number of additional households will mean additional vehicles entering and leaving the area every day. I'd like to know exactly how many additional vehicle trips the development is expected to generate, and where those vehicles will enter and exit, whether the existing roads can safely accommodate that traffic. I also want to know whether emergency vehicles will have accurate access. Second, I'm concerned about the difference in density between the proposed development and the existing neighborhoods adjacent to. This is an established residential neighborhood, placing a significantly higher density development immediately adjacent to could substantially change the character of the area. I'd like the city to explain why this particular location is appropriate for higher density residential development. Third, I'm concerned about stormwater and drainage. The development will add buildings, driveways, parking areas, and other impervious surfaces. I want assurance that the development will not increase runoff or create drainage for existing homeowners. This is particularly concerning given that the proposed townhomes will occupy higher ground relative to the topography of the adjacent residential area. Fourth, I'm concerned about parking. I would like to know how many parking spaces will be provided per unit, where guests and overflow parking will go, and what safeguards will prevent the surrounding streets from becoming overflow parking for the new development. This is particularly concerning given that Lee Road 456, the road the development is proposed to be on, is a 2-lane road and the only means of ingress and egress for both the Ivy Creek community as well as the adjacent community directly to the east. The potential for parking overflow to spill onto Lee Road 456 has the potential to create significant traffic backlog for daily commuters, but also to block emergency vehicles when they require entrance into our neighborhood. Fifth, I'm concerned about privacy, noise, and physical impact on the existing homeowners. What setbacks, landscaping, fencing, and other permanent buffers will separate the new development from existing homes? How will lighting, trash collection, noise, and other impacts be controlled? Sixth, I'm concerned about the capacity of the existing infrastructure. Has the city confirmed that the water, sewer, stormwater, roads, police and fire services can adequately support population without negatively affecting the existing residents? And finally, I ask the city to consider whether this rezoning is actually consistent with the Phoenix City comprehensive plan and future land use map for this specific property. If the city believes it's appropriate to introduce this level of density next to Ivy Creek and the adjacent neighborhoods, I would ask the city to explain the planning rationale and provide evidence supporting that conclusion. I respectfully ask the planning commission and city council not to approve this rezoning unless the city can demonstrate that the proposed density, traffic, drainage, infrastructure, parking, emergency access, and neighborhood impacts can adequately be studied and addressed. If the city cannot establish this particular development is compatible with the existing neighborhoods, I believe the responsible decision is to deny the rezoning. This is my third time living in the Tri-City area, and my second residing in the Phoenix City side. I truly do love our city, so I do appreciate y'all for hearing me out this morning. Thank you.
And what's your name again?
Zach Jacobs, sir? Zach Jacobs? Sir?
Zach Jacobs.
Oh,
That's Jacobs.
okay, well, we appreciate you coming. But everything you actually will be, provided.
Thanks, sir.
All that will be provided.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you at this point, you ready to change the leads on this? Tell us what we're all ready, then we have any public, but, you want to be involved in this?
Well, I just want to make sure we're discussing the
On the wrong track. Try your eyes in the meeting and go over this, let's answer these questions. Because it's in the planning commission.
I mean,
Let's go, at what point you are, explain what point you are. Yeah.
this is public area for landmark. This is just adding a small piece of property. To a piece of property that's already zoned R3. Ivy Creek is already zoned R3. The R3 density for Ivy Creek is the same as what the density will be on this particular piece of property. So no density is changing. This is just adding a small piece of property to an existing R3 zone.
This is basically trying to straighten out, say, a property line, for lack of a better way to describe it.
Yes.
Because the line, say, is not straight, and there's enough property that could be brought into it, say, to straighten the line out where you got it. Just say it's easier to know exactly where everything is.
Yes.
So it doesn't really change anything. It just adds a very, very small porch, like adding 10 seats back here when you got all these other seats right here.
I mean, irregardless of this little piece, even if this little piece is denied,
Doesn't change what can go there.
it can still be built on that piece of property.
It's just not in the city.
Already be built as is without this little 8,000 square feet.
But you can still build on it, just within the city, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
What we're looking at to do here is gonna be just to allow it to be built within the city rather than allow it to be built in the back jurisdiction, so to speak.
That is correct.
Right.
And Mr. Ray, this is not in opposition of the plan that we already have in place.
No, it is not. That whole area right there is on R3 already. The adjacent property is on R3. This little sliver of property, which is 8,000 square feet, I think, is just being annexed in and rezoned to R3.
And as far as our comprehensive plan,
It is
as far as that,
comprehensive plan, yes.
is that,
Does that make sense to you, what he's saying? The way he's describing it to you, that what's there, if it was your front yard that you're talking about, has to come into the city, but your backyard's already in the city. You still live in that house, you still own both pieces, and you still use both pieces as what they are. It's just, if we allow your front yard to come into the city, now the whole piece of property was in the city. But otherwise, the front yard's not, the backyard is, it's still your yard. So that's what everybody's saying, it's the comprehensive plan thing. And they can do already there what they're planning on doing on all the rest of the stuff that's already in the city. We're just trying to add a small piece just to basically straighten out property line, would be the easiest way to describe it.
And from the traffic standpoint, Landmark Road is actually maintained by the Lee County Highway Department. We've already instructed the developer and their engineer to reach out to Lee County Highway Department. They will be able to tell them where their accesses are. Like Ray said, this particular piece of property has come before planning commission before, but it didn't meet the landscaping requirements. So they can still build townhomes there regardless.
Right,
Maybe
yeah.
we'll reduce the number, but still build townhomes. So this property that we're annexing in will attach to that current existing development, and it will allow for more landscaping and detention and drainage and everything like that. So that's why, we're recommending to go ahead and involve the department. You can already build our townhomes out there, so you have this additional property, then you can take care of your detention and everything like that. So that was an important thing. And, like I said, the construction plans, we haven't seen any plans on it. So I can't tell you where drainage is gonna be. I can't tell you exactly the access points. I can't, Ray will go over the parking and everything, make sure that there's adequate parking and things. So this is just the first step. The developer got to know, okay, can this piece of property be annexed and rezoned? And if that's the case, then he can put the two pieces of property together and then develop the plan.
but without seeing plans, you can't tell them this, it has to meet what?
They still have to come to zoning ordinance.
It has to meet the zoning ordinance,
Yeah.
or it won't be approved. That's why I want to get every answer that he came here for. I want you to understand something. What we do here in this city, we put a team together. I have a team of people that specialize in this. Everybody, developer that comes here, they have a meeting with them, that they sit down all in one room so it won't be any confusion. That everybody can address these questions, because they have to answer these questions in these hearings, whether it's for the planning commission or for this council. And that's what's put together. That's why any specific question that you have, whatever stage that particular project gets to, they can answer those questions or make sure that they meet all the specs, and that's why they're all up to code. So they can answer your question. You want to say something?
Well, just clarify, Chris, do you remember how many units Mr. Val proposed in there?
I cannot.
I want to say it was around 30 units total.
I think that's right.
Good morning, Chris
Good morning.
Roberts, Wayside Engineering, we'll be the engineers for this project if and when it does go forward. Chris, I think you're right, I think it's somewhere in the 25, 30 units, and that's all subject to, as Angel mentioned, subdivision regulations, ordinance and stuff, of what's allowed for density and stuff.
Yeah, so as far as to address drainage, so the city standard is that any pre-construction runoff, as it currently sits, the post-construction after everything's constructed, including rooftops, paving, any of that, has to equal what it was before it was built. And so that is the standard. So as Chris goes through his design process and engineering, he's gonna look at that and make sure that it's either the same or better, which is the city standard. It's also a standard of the state of Alabama, according to land disturbance and all that. So all that will have to be met. And of course, after this process, I know we got into this with other developments before, a lot of the specifics of these questions can't be answered until these preliminary items are addressed. And the developer goes through this process before he starts investing a lot of money into getting all those specifics ironed out and making sure all the standards are met. So that's where we're at. So we do have standards in place. It's some assurance that those things will be looked at and those standards have to be met. But as far as the specifics today, we don't have those answers specifically. But hopefully in the near future, we will have as you start your process.
I thank every last one of y'all. I want to say this, nobody needs to encroach on the neighborhood that's there. But when you move the neighborhood, you have to take a look at the landowners that's there before. I'm a person that's been here a long time, and I have argued with Mike Bowden, who's one of the main owners out there of that property. But the one thing you cannot argue with is his vision from years ago. He's passionate about it, he's passionate about the city, he's had his hands on a lot of things. And like I said, you wouldn't think them kids in the same room together, but you have to get credit for credit due, and the other owners of the property. So I think they're gonna take in consideration everything with respect to people that's developed there already, because he also developed the other neighborhoods that's there. So, and he's a big part of it, so I think it's gonna be a respectful project that they're trying to put there, because the demand on this city for what they're trying to do now is something that people have been demanding for a long time. And now that it's here, that development, it may step on a few toes, but at the same time, it's going to be convenient for a lot of people that's around. So you look at the masses that's around that development that's there. You know, so it's not that I'm trying to take up on or take up some people that's going to be selling property or bringing things here. There's a lot of people that's going to love it, a lot of people may not like it, but it has been taken into consideration in the future of another road that can go out on the property that you're talking about, because we know land by heart that can believe that, but you got the 280 that's there where most of them be going back out to, even dealing with this little piece that they're adding to the other part. That's for growth. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Did that answer some of your questions that you had?
And it answers some of it, sir, but it doesn't necessarily my concerns.
I do want to add one thing to that. So as far as the history of this subdivision, when Mr. Hunter's conversation brought it up in my mind. So Mr. Bowden has explained, some of them may have been here at that time, I wasn't with the city, but when he began the development of Ivy Creek, he had a master plan in place.
He did that.
And these townhomes were always part of that master plan. That's why the entire development is R3. When he brought it into the city, it was zoned R3 because the master plan included not only the single family residential, but this multi-family townhome. It was always part of his master plan, which is
Well, Mike does that on everything that he does. He looks 20 years down the road, 15 years down the road. I live in Rock Island. It was always in Rock Island. He was gonna build some condos in the apartments right there on the dam. I built up there in 1990, but a lot of built in there in 1980s. That didn't come to fruition till about 2010. But when it finally did, it went right where he said, and it wasn't condos, it went up in apartments, but it's still multiple houses, still the same number of units. He did the same thing out here by Walmart. When he developed all that and kept the land out there, that was already zoned for those apartments. I call it Dickens. There's apartments being built out there. Just like I call the Dickens for the Dollar General across next to Sunday, across from the church and go to it some would have. That was done when the Piggly Wiggly was built. That was part of the Piggly Wiggly project over there. The house just was never purchased by anybody, never done. A lot of this stuff has already been planned for years and years. You didn't know to ask about it. You didn't know to question. You weren't told about it. But it's new to you, but it's not new to the people that are going to do it. They've been planning on doing it for 20. And now Mike's doing a lot of it because the children are getting older and he wants to have things for them. And Mike does. Like this one I said, whether you get along with it or don't get along with it. He loves Phenix City. He's been good to Phenix City. Phenix City, Lord have mercy, has been good to him.
And the only thing that changed in that time period is regulations. That's the only thing that he has to make a change.
And he has to follow those. We have no choice on that.
That's right, that's the only thing that changes there. So he's gonna give the city sometimes, and he has to come and even to that, but it exists. But the concerns about the safety and looking at all that will be addressed also.
It's all part of it.
Police department involved, everything is gonna be arranged. You're dealing with, on the other portion of it, you're dealing with the state highway department. Everybody's involved in making sure it's a safe environment.
He won't say something.
You got something else you want to say?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, respect to those plans and all that have been there in place. The big thing about plans is that they can change, just like regulations, as you mentioned, sir. And although there's this landowner there, I also speak on behalf of 100-something landowners and residents here that live in the neighborhoods adjacent, who also now are investing 30+ years of their life to be paying off mortgages for the neighborhood they now are investing in. So yes, I respect that there is maybe a plan in place, plans to change, and take into account this one, I guess, investor in the city's plan, or the fact that there is now over 100 citizens over there who have invested in Phoenix City, and the life they're trying to live over there, so.
Well, the 100 citizens can't be upset about something that's already there. It was there when we moved in over there.
With respect, sir, the 100 citizens can be upset about whatever they wish to.
No, I mean, you upset about something that was already in place when you bought your home, whether it was last week, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, what was already there, 99% of it was there at that time. Your relative should have told you. I'm not getting on to what you didn't do, but you should have looked at the overall property owner's map in his office or whatever, which is what I've done 2 or 3 times looking at something. I go in there and I want to see the whole neighborhood, phase 1, I may be buying into. I want to see what phase 2 might look like, what phase 3 might look like, what phase 4. I promise you there was a map with all that on there. And you would have seen that everything that y'all are not talking about, you're talking about like we're changing something. We're not changing anything. We're not changing one iota of R3 zone already out there. All we're doing is adding, like I tried to explain to you a while ago, your front yard to the whole neighborhood is what we're trying to do. Everybody else still lives in the neighborhood. They have front and backyards. You come in and petition us because your backyard and house is in the city, but your front yard's not. And we're allowing you to include your front yard into the whole neighborhood is basically the way that I'm trying to describe it to you. Because all of the other is already there, was there when every one of y'all bought. It was there. It was nothing added later on, and nothing that's been added, and nothing that's been deleted. That's the thing about it. I understand your concern, and you got a right to be concerned. It's your personal right to do that. I'm not getting on to you about that. I'm just telling you that what you're concerned about, and everybody out there is concerned about, it already exists. We're not even discussing any of that. We're just strictly discussing one small piece that's gonna be added to the large piece that was there when you bought. There today, there tomorrow, and be there next year, even if money does nothing with it. It's still on it, it's his option to do it at any time he wants to. But he's gotta follow every rule, every regulation, and everything that changes in them. And look at, that's what Mike's biggest problem is with the city. Is he'll plan something in 2000. The rules and regulations changed in 2006. Then he comes back down here and wants to go back to 2000 again. Because everybody told him, oh, yeah, the plan you brought was good. But it don't fit today's regulations. Look, I'm just being truthful on that now. Because I've had the same conversations with him, and so y'all told me back in 2000 I could do it this way. And we did, because it fit the regulation. But then Miss Angel and Ray and Chris and all of them say, look, the regulations have changed, and it's not us that changes the stuff.
And it's comprehensive.
We don't change that. Comprehensive plans can change, the regulations have changed through the state, different people come in, different. We don't change them to change up on somebody. But when it changes over a 5-year, 10, 15, 20-year time, then you have to go back to the drawing board. And a lot of things with real estate, it's all about time.
And to address that, too, you know, I'm gonna let you go, Chief, in a minute. To address that, looking at the changes throughout the city and the density of it, you had another good question about storm and looking at that. Different years ago, you know, you deal with 25-year storms, you deal with 50-year storms, you deal with 100-year storm drainage. It depends on how you power that up around you, what you were pushing from an old system into a new system, so that you all won't have problems. So they had to change a lot of that, whether it's a pipe and anything else. So,
And
go ahead.
originally, when this came through as Ivy Creek, they went ahead and did like a community watershed project and showed that they would be using this one particular spot as their detention area. So it was planned through, you know, they knew they were going to build these developments. I think the bottom line is it's R3 now. If we annex and combine this little piece of property with the big one, it's just going to enhance it. It's not going to create any more additional, townhomes or anything like that. So they can do it now, you know, regardless if they have this piece of property. But if you add this property and annex it to the city, combine all into one lot, it's just going to enhance it.
And their job is to protect you all. You said Shadowwood, right?
So
You
you're
said-
saying-
You got Ivy Creek over here, you got Shadowwood over there. Part of the problem with that whole circle there is you're dealing with part of Phenix City and you want to build a partial station, which is a county. So you're building, and sometimes we do things different. And this is a merger. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Well,
We're
this
talking
is-
about the same thing.
So I just wanted to say something about access, what we call apparatus access roads, in response to your statement. That's something that we take very seriously, and that anything that is developed out there will absolutely have to meet the current standards. And we look at the number of units, based on the number of units in our standards, they will have to provide additional access. The preliminary design that we have seen, this already actually exceeds, this particular project exceeds that, so it meets that requirement, unless it changes. So, there's nothing I can do about Landmark Road, but getting into this particular development, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want you to understand that, like I said, I know what you're concerned about. And it's perfectly fine to be concerned about. But 99% of the stuff you're concerned about has got to be done a certain way.
It's got to be.
Has to be. And it'll be done where it's satisfactory. Everybody lives out there, including the city. Because once it's done and the city takes it over, we're responsible for it. We don't sit up here and pass that like that we will allow you to do something improper that we're going to bail you out on later on. That's not fair to all taxpayers, it's not fair to us or anybody. But also, I want you to understand that, just like the chief just said, and Ms. Angel just said with engineering, everything's already in place for him to develop whatever he wants to develop, as long as it meets all the rules, regulations, and criteria, without asking you anything, without asking me anything, without asking the mayor. He doesn't have to. It's already in place. He can do all of that. All he's asking to do is to use this much more piece of property that we think, whether he uses it or not, doesn't do anything to the city. It helps us straighten out a property line where we can get all of our city completely lined up the way it should have been done years ago. We shouldn't have all this zigzag. all these property lines, you jump to this side of the street, to that side of the street, and omit this house, and then pick up this house. All of that's was bad thinking, it was poor time, it was poorly planned, and that's the type of stuff we're trying to go away with. And that's what this little small piece of property is actually gonna do. It's gonna basically help us to straighten out the property line that is jumbled up, and it should have never been done that way. Way back down, this little piece should have come in with the rest of the stuff. Or maybe grandma did it done. And that was where grandma's house was, and grandma didn't want it in the city. So I mean, y'all really don't know what the reason was. But that's what we're trying to do, but it's still fine to be concerned, and you're doing the right thing. Being here today, very few people come to these things either for or against. I'm just with the deaf to see, I'm sitting with the deaf to know that y'all conversing in your neighborhood, asking each other what your opinions are, getting feedback from everybody to understand. I'm glad that you did. I thank you for doing that today. I thank you for coming in here with these questions. But I think 99% of what you question, it's not going to be an answer to. Our fire chief, we listen to the police and the fire department and to our engineering department probably more than we listen to each other.
And that's a good standard.
But they know what they have to do their job right. We're here to support them when they ask us to support them. And so most of the time, when they ask us to do something, it's going to get done because it's the right thing to do. We support all of our department heads. That don't mean we always make the right decision. We don't need it. But we listen to them. They know their job. I don't. So I listen to them and pay attention. What they say to me matters to me a great deal. But I think you come today. I appreciate you having the concern that you got.
Thank you. Okay, we again reiterate, we appreciate you coming.
Thanks, sir.
So if there's anyone else, if not, I am declaring this public hearing closed. I will not ask the clerk to reread because of the second reading. We did the first reading on this July the 7th. So with that, at this time, council, I'd like to call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Green. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, council, on the ordinance is the first reading. It's an ordinance to amend section 4.16-C of the Merit System Rules and Regulations of the City of Phenix City, Alabama. Mrs. Davis?
An ordinance to amend section 4.16-C of the Merit System Rules and Regulations of the City of Phenix City, Alabama. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that the Merit System Rules and Regulations of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, section 4.16-C are hereby amended as follows. Section 4.16, benefits and services. C, health and dental insurance. After completion of the required waiting period as defined by the participating plan, not to exceed 90 days from the commencement of full-time employment, the city will offer regular full-time and regular probationary employees health and dental insurance. Those employees hired in seasonal positions shall be subject to a 12-month measurement period to determine eligibility for insurance. Employees eligible for coverage shall contribute no more than 10% of the total individual premium, but not exceeding the prescribed percentage of the federal poverty level as determined by the IRS. The city will cover 100% of the individual premium for employees electing to participate in the annual wellness screening. Dependent coverage will also be offered. The city will pay 1/2 of the cost, and the employee will contribute 1/2 of the cost of dependent coverage. When an employee is on leave without pay, the City of Phenix City will pay the individual health insurance premiums as well as 1/2 of the dependent coverage on an employee for a period of 6 months after the employee has exhausted all annual and sick leave benefits. After this time, if the employee wishes to remain on the group policy, it will be their responsibility to reimburse the city for the cost of this premium prior to the billing due date for the group. If premium is not paid by the 25th of the following month, coverage will be discontinued. The city shall provide regular full-time employees who retire from the city with the same health and dental insurance as provided to active, regular, full-time employee, subject to retiree coverage eligibility of the plan. Eligibility to continue coverage as a retiree is subject to the rules and guidelines established by the plan. Dependent coverage shall also be offered. However, the retired employee will contribute 100% of the cost of the dependent's coverage. The cost for the retired employee shall be paid by the city as follows. 50% paid by the city for 10 continuous years of full-time service for the city of Phenix City. 60% paid by the city for 15 continuous years of full-time service for the city of Phenix City. 70% paid by the city for 20 continuous years of full-time service for the city of Phenix City. 85% paid for the city for 25 continuous years of full-time service for the city of Phenix City. 100% paid by the city for 30 continuous years of full-time service for the city of Phenix City. After retirees' obtainment of Medicare eligibility, coverage converts to a Medicare Advantage policy and premiums are adjusted accordingly. It will be the responsibility of the retired employee to reimburse the city their share of the cost of the premium due prior to the billing due date for the group. If premium is not paid by the 25th of the following month, coverage will be discontinued. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective October 1st, 2026. Be it further ordained that all laws or parts of law in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. If any part of this ordinance or the merit system rules and regulations is declared invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the parts which remain. Passed, approved, and adopted.
Thank you, Ms. James. Council, we've heard the first reading. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to place on first reading.
Motion to place on first reading.
I have a motion, Councilmember Lawrence, and a second, Councilmember Day. Before you say anything, Ms. Day, she's the closest to me. So I heard her first. We have a motion, we have a second. At this time, Councilmember, call for the vote. Ms. Day?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Also proceeding to council on the first reading is an ordinance to amend section 9.01 of the system rules and regulation of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama. Mrs. Davis.
An ordinance to amend section 9.01 of the merit system rules and regulations of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama. Be it ordained by the city council of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the merit system rules and regulations of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama, section 9.01 regarding probationary period is hereby amended as follows. Section 9.01, duration. The probationary period shall be 12 months in duration with the exception of those job classes which require certification of state or national minimum standards. For those job classes requiring state or national certification, the probationary period shall conclude upon fulfillment of the standards within the designated time allowance or the passage of 12 months, whichever is later. The designated time allowances to obtain state or national certifications are as follows. Police officer, 18 months to obtain a post certification. Code enforcement officer, 18 months to obtain a post certification and ICC inspector certification. Firefighter, 12 months to obtain firefighter 1 and 2 and hazmat 8 and 0 through the Alabama Fire College. 18 months to obtain EMT-B through Alabama State Board of Health and the National Registry of EMTs. Water filtration plant operator, 36 months to obtain grade 6 water operator, 4 water operator through AM. Wastewater treatment plant operator, 36 months to obtain grade 3 wastewater operator through AM. Any probationary employee with an absence exceeding 14 consecutive calendar days shall have an extension of their probationary period equivalent to the length of the consecutive absence. The probationary period for promotion shall be 12 months. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon passage. Be it further ordained that all laws or parts of laws in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. If any part of this ordinance or the merit system rules and regulations is declared invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the parts which remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Council, we've heard the first reading. At this time, I'd like to ask this council for a motion to place on first reading.
Motion to place on first reading.
All right, motion from Councilmember Green and a second from Councilmember Florence. Okay. Call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Florence? Yes. Mayor Lo?
Yes. Thank you. Again, we want to thank the council. Appreciate the fervor that we have in this community. I know we want to keep that, but we're doing it for the right reason. Thank you all so much. Thanks everyone for attending. Thanks to the department heads. Anything for our next city manager?
We got, where are our 12 rules? Our 12 rules.
Yeah, they start tomorrow at 3:30.
Who are they playing?
Washington. It's 3:30 tomorrow, it's going to be ESPN. And depending on whether they win or lose, the next game starts. And I'll up here, I want to remind everybody, Central starts Thursday. We have a first home game, and it's against Hopkins.
It's on TV also.
It should be on TV as well. I also want to reiterate that our city employees, they get in the game free. They have to enter with their ID on the Dark House baseball set. It's just for the employees, not spouses and kids and all. It's just the employees if they want to enter the game. If not, the person team. So that is partnership school system allows us to do with this.
Yeah, versus the team will support everybody.
That's right, we can do that. And that's only for home regular season games. Once playoffs start,
State regulation.
yeah, so just want to remind everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and the flag is going to play before the varsity, Thursday, the two-time national champions. We'll play before the varsity game Thursday.
Wow. That's gonna be exciting.
Outside of sports, which is, we have a plethora of people here.
They play the Catholic school, that.
Yeah, they play Montgomery County.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, who's the real good team who's supposed to be?
We have a lot to be thankful of, not just from the sports standpoint.
Oh, no, that's the whole
I do know this, sports brings people together, regardless of what side of the railroad tracks you're on.
Bring them together, but they might go opposite each other now.
Yes, Mrs. Moore?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hunter wanted me to go over the traffic signal at US 280 and Highway 80. Or the general Parkway North bypass. So I talked to the district engineer yesterday. He had just received some updated plans, and that they're supposed to be widening the right lane for a free flow right lane. He said it's just going to be a patch temporarily, and then they're investigating how to fix the problem permanently. So, but it is still in process. I asked them why they can't go and strike the project to make it a little bit more easy for drivers, and he said that they don't intend to go back in and build up any strikes, and that's why they won't strike it yet. But my office is keeping in touch with them, and we're trying to work through this with them, and especially let them know how concerned the citizens are. But like I said, that's completely an outlaw project. It was designed by outlaw, and the city didn't have anything to do with it. We weren't invested in any of the construction plan review or anything like that. So we're just trying to work with them and help in any way that we can, and hopefully we can get this solution done quickly.
That's what I told everybody at church.
Yes.
Everybody hit me up at church on that. I had was asking about that property down that way to church. And here's what I told them. That's not on the city at all. That's on state highway. I told them to talk to the state representative. Did I tell them correctly?
Yeah, and these are all outlined, and they have been told for many, many years the same thing. They need to contact outlaw. Outlaw said it's not their responsibility to focus the driveway, so therefore it falls back on the property.
A lot of people are of the opinions that, will you explain to them 431, who got problems with 280, 80, John Allen,
State
you see us out there flooding. Well, we do that to keep the portions inside the city real clean because the state let us know they would cut that 2 times a year. 2 times, we got them up to 2 times, they claim they would do that, but they would also come in and spray it, so it wouldn't be anything green. This is the difference that people are saying that if we wouldn't cut it regularly. See, one thing is 24/7. They never stop throwing cans and papers out of vehicles. So it's not like you can have one period to the next period because people are filthy and they throw things out of vehicles and cars and stuff off. Some things are mistakes, they fall off. So that we have to be out there cleaning stuff up a lot, but the state controls those highways.
And Mr. Hunter, you know, John Cooper let you know, right?
Yes,
what he told us.
And I also asked,
He'll let you know.
this last weekend, it's a white dog, country grass. I actually, the state have to give
The
it a
city does cut the grass on those state highways because we'll actually go up and pick up the paper and we will keep it where they just don't kill it dead. But at the same time, like I look back at my attendance today for right away, we have 6 people on the right of way. That's the people that we need, that's the people that pick up the trash, and that's the people that are on the mowers or on the tractors. So we have so many miles, so many acres of DOT rights of way that we have to keep cut, cause safety issues. And then so it's harder for us to get inside the neighborhoods to cut that while we're doing all these safety issues or DOT making thoroughfares. So that's why, we ask, citizens to be patient with us, if something they can cut on the right of way, we don't have any problem if they go cut it on their own. But I'm not saying we already, 6 people, that's not a bunch of people to go and be maintaining all these rights of way.
6 people, let me ask you this question this morning. When the city cut that with those right on the state property, so we get reimbursed?
Yeah, no intention. No intention. We're going to get paid. We doing that on our own. We get paid, all right?
Then when we went up there, John Cooper, he would have paid more.
That's correct. Did he make the rest? We don't receive see, what they understand is something that we're trying to get people to understand here. And I've said it several times. Everything is increasing because people have people to work. And that's throughout the United States. That's been said in the truck industry. That's been said about fire trucks. Everything is delayed. They have very few people. It's not just here in Phenix City. It's everywhere. So it's an understanding. You need to understand that that's part of the problem. That's what we have to do when we get up. We have, okay, let's go over this while we're on people. When we try to bid out the right ways, we put that up because we try to deal with the situation and say, okay, we don't have enough people. Let's bring in some lawn services, let's bring in those people, let's give them opportunity. What did you get?
We got 0 bids.
Right.
0 bids. We bid out the DOT rights of ways, but they're more clearly defined and they're bigger areas. So we were thinking that we could get our smaller crew into some more of the neighborhoods and, some like South Road, River Road, and all that. That's still the cities. We have to maintain those. But we got no bids. We didn't get a phone call or anything. Just nothing.
So when we got the bid, when we bid it out to cemeteries, because we control all cemeteries in the city, we was able to get that taken care of. And we got, seeing to have a good operation going on with that right now. So we are trying to do that. And for the criticism of, well, the city used to be able to get people to work for the city and this and whatever. Well, we lived at a different time. Who would have thought we would have been in this situation? Who would have thought we would have been in a situation? And I guess I can blame it on like other people. Let's go with COVID. Let's go to 2019 and 2020. The world has changed everywhere else. Why you don't think it's changed here? It's changed here too. Something affected something somewhere. But people, as far as that, and people can't pass the drug test and all that, but we never give up on trying. We just don't accept that. We're still trying to have people here to work.
And I mean, Public Works Department, we interviews every week, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 interviews, per week out there. So we're trying very, very hard. HR has been very good at, recruiting and trying to get applicants in. But once you get them in, if we obviously know they can't do it, we don't want to put them in harm's way. And then if they do make it to the second interview or anything like that, or they will pass the drug test, and then we hire them, and then they come in for a week, and then they quit. When they see what kind of work it is. So, I mean, it's just a process, we're really trying to do it. So now we're down to working 6.
And you're down 60-70% of workers.
Especially in that division, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that's in a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that cheap.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Angie.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anything else, council?
Yeah, so we're glad to have you back.
Thank y'all.
We're glad to have you back. We miss seeing you sitting over there. You make your face bright. You know, you don't smile with it.
Hey, I want to thank y'all for your prayers and concern while I was out sick. You know, you tend to appreciate things a lot more when you've been through something like I've been through, and I want y'all to know that I appreciate everything y'all have done for me. And I just thank you very much. I know a lot of people, you know, want to, if you read Facebook, you know, y'all are worthless and y'all are mean people, but that's far from the truth. Y'all are some of the best people that I've ever worked for, and I've been here as city attorney since 2002, and this is the best bunch that I've ever had the privilege to work for. So thank you again.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Anything else, council? Mr. Thomas? No. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you all again. Thank everyone. Department heads, all our city workers, and the people that received their 5 years increment certificate today, giving them some kudos. But again, we want to thank everyone. We want to thank this community. In spite of sometimes, we are blessed to be in Phenix City. And so with that being said, I do want to acknowledge CTV, Bean, for always bringing this to our citizens, and we are very transparent, and we do want to send a message that we are passionate, and we're not going to apologize for that, because this is a serious gig, because it's about other people. It's not about us. So with that, thanks to CTV Bean, and at this time, council, we all stand adjourned. Thank you.